Hey, Jones, this is real late night. Time's 11:45. This is a 12 o'clock midnight sports talk we got going on. Anybody out there? I don't think so. Everybody's in bed. This is Sports Talk, extremely live with Mike Nasty, the Fat Man. So Jalen Hurst, he chose Oklahoma over Maryland because Riley has produced Mayfield, and now the young guy Murray, two Heisman Trophy guys. So Jalen Hurst decided to go to Oklahoma over Maryland. Loxley took him out to the Indiana game, Maryland Terps game, Indiana. Terps were screaming, Hurst, 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 all the fans. So now they're going with the Pingram. He ended up last year, our quarterbacks from Maryland always get hurt. Tyrone Hill, he tore his ACL. So now they're going to go with Pingram for the year. They were number 13 in passing yardage. His freshman year, he threw for 2,780 yards at Hurst. And he's only thrown a couple interceptions. He controlled the ball. He didn't give it up too much. So that's where Jalen Hurst ended up going to. Ended up going to Oklahoma. Made the drive to Oklahoma. Said it's going to be their family. So he's not going to end up with his old pal Loxley here at the University of Maryland. He decided to go to Oklahoma. So that's the Maryland. So facing the Ravens. NFL talk about the Ravens. The Ravens wide receivers, there's an uncertain all season because most of these guys, John Brown, they don't want to be blockers. With Flacco around, he had against New Orleans, he had 134 yards. He had 134 yards against New Orleans. Since Joe left, he was targeted in two passes for 14 yards in the Chargers game when he played with Jackson when Jackson came in. So Brown had 10 passes on 33 targets for 12.8 yards per catch. And with Flacco, had the offense, these guys were catching, 79 targets, catching 40 balls. So the production went down after Jackson came in. So we'll have to see what they're going to do with Crabtree still has 2 years on his. He was supposed to be the number one receiver. In the red zone threat, he caught 41 of 76 passes from Flacco. When Jackson came in, he was targeted 28 times and he caught 15 passes. He's never been less than 600 yards. He only had 607 receiving yards. He's never been that low since being a rookie. So Crabtree, he still has 2 years left and 21 on the deal. They'll save money if they cut him. If they cut Crabtree, they'll save $5 million. So they're thinking the only one that they're going to bring back of the receivers is going to be Willie Snead because him and out of the most targets, him and Jackson, they hooked up because Jackson feels comfortable throwing it down the middle. And Snead's, slot receiver that's not afraid to catch the ball in the middle. So Snead will probably be the only one that comes back. And Harbaugh likes Snead. He likes his grittiness. He likes, he's tough and he's going to go in there and take that shot. But they think that's the only guy that's going to come back. And Chris Moore, he'll come back because he still has a year left on his rookie contract. And he'll come back because they need him on special teams because he's a good special teams guy. He's a good gunner guy. He comes running down there, makes that first initial contact, and on the, he does kickoffs. So he gets some, I think he was averaging like 20-some yards on kick returns. And he's speedy. So And then the tight ends come in. You heard you talk about that. Mark Andrews. He did well with Flacco. He had 21 passes at 32 targets. With Jackson, he had less, but he had more catches, 16 to 25. Balls thrown his way, and he had an average of 21.2 yards a game. So Andrews and Jackson could be a good fit. Just like the whole system should be a good fit for Jackson, since Roman's going to come in there and be the offensive coordinator, and he should be able to devise a better plan for the guy and not just have him running the ball all the time. Work on this. Maybe. If somebody takes me, I doubt that though. I'm just a rookie in my class, just hanging out. I'm actually bored, nobody's up. I don't have to work in the morning. So I figured I'd hang out. And I let them guys like you come on. How you doing, Mr. Batsy? I got nothing to do. Figured I ain't sleeping. Get on this crazy stuff. But yeah, like I said, Roman should be able to get him to get a little more passing yards out of him, get his average up, make sure Mr. Jackson don't fumble the ball as much. Give him some time as the number one and let him take all the reps. We should be all right. So the Ravens should be in there. So you got the Chiefs and the old guy, like I've been saying. You got the GOAT against the kid. And they're talking about how 41-year-old guy still going out there and still getting it done, because he's polished. He has the experience. He knows all that stuff. You got Mahomes in his first game. But he's at home. The weather is going to be a little bit going to be cold, but both teams are cold weather teams, so it doesn't really matter. But and Mahomes, he handles himself fairly good. Like they said, he's used to pressure. He says he gets it from his dad. His dad was a MLB. He was a player, and he was a baseball player. So he says he can do well under pressure. And Brady's a guy. He ain't going to be running all over the place, so their defense doesn't have to worry about him scrambling. But he does have a quick release, and he's going to stand in the pocket. And if those guys are open, like I told you, Edelman's number 2 in receiving yards for playoffs. He's behind Jerry Rice. Edelman has like 97, 98 yards per game that he's been in. And Jerry Rice is 151. So these guys will be good. If the pocket collapses, they got to keep the kid inside. You don't really have to worry about Brady running that much. I don't think he has, in 17 years, they said he might have ran for 1,000 yards. That he's been an NFL quarterback. So Brady's not a big-time scrambler. He'll sit in that pocket and get rid of that ball. But, and he'll wait for those receivers to come open. And you look at everybody else, what he does out there. He's never been in a big-time game. So, but that's it. We got some basketball going on. The Lakers are down. And the Maryland women lost to Michigan State tonight. Lost by like 9. I like the Maryland women. I like Brenda Free. She's a heck of a coach. I watched something called the Shell, or Under the Turtle, or Under the Shell, and it's you can go and watch it on YouTube. And it talks about how she puts pressure, how she wants them to set up. You got to put your hand in their face. You got to have your hands out, and it goes through. Lets you see their practice, the way she gets them to play her style of basketball. Fundamentals is always the key to a good team, and they play good pressure defense, and she's always working. Tonight, though, they had problems with Michigan State. They ended up losing by 9. So that's their second loss. And the men are ranked 19th. You know, the Lakers are tied right now with a minute 56 to go in the fourth with the Thunder. The Wizards beat the Knicks 101 to 100. And Beal had the wrong shorts on. He tried to go out there and play in different shorts. But I guess they wouldn't let him play. You got the Hornets beat the Kings 114 to 95. And the 76ers 120 to 96 over the Pacers. So that's NBA basketball for you. We got hockey. We got the Bruins beat the Blues 5-2. Rangers beat the Blackhawks 4-3. Islanders beat the Devils 4-1. And the Jets beat the Predators 5-1. Got South Carolina 74. Mississippi State 89. Let's see what we got here. Michigan State beat Nebraska 70-64. Oregon and Arizona 59-54. Oregon won. You got Washington against Stanford. Washington won 80-64. So that's it. Got a couple more. Got a couple more days before spring training comes with pitchers and catchers. See you, Mr. Bats. I don't know if it's passion. It might be a midlife crisis. Nothing else to do. But that's what they do. Got a couple more days before spring training comes along. You know, and the O's are waiting to see what they're getting from one of their top picks, Hunter Harvey, that hasn't made it in the rotation yet. You know, he's had some injuries. He's, you know, mini camp, he was up there. He was fully healthy. He had some groin. He's always come up with some kind of injury. So see what he does this year. See if they're gonna do what they did with Dylan Bundy. Put him in the bullpen. Let him get some stuff up here in the majors. Get some innings in. He still has some time left in the farm system, so they can drop him down. He still has some stuff on this thing where they can put him to AA or AAA. He still has options left, but they need to get him up here and see what he can do. Give him a couple innings in the big leagues. Let him start in the bullpen. See what he can do. You know. And the Ohio State quarterback, he ended up going to Miami. So the kid from Ohio State, he transferred to Miami. He's ready to start something new out there. So in college football, got a couple of the kids transferring. You know, Ohio State's QB, he said he's going to Miami. I guess when they change on you, they give you the option. I know in softball, you know, they got until October where girls, if they get committed to somewhere and then the coaches leave, they let them find another spot. And they have them till October, and then the coaches come around. Now they're looking for their, you know, 2020 classes, 2021s, if they're interested in softball. But that's what they do. That's what we do. That's what they do. Greg Bratz was in the house. My only Facebooker tonight. And I don't see anybody on YouTube, but I'm also doing a podcast. This is the Fat Man Mike Nasty. I'm running out of podcasts. I do it on an app called Podbean. So if you're ever interested and want to listen to it, just listen to it. I flop it to Twitter accounts, to my Twitter account. I put it on my Facebook. So I do a podcast too. I also did my number 22 workout. What a fat man does when he gets off the couch. I tell you, I'm not a certified doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm not a certified trainer. It's what I do, how I work out, and I try to keep myself in shape. So I'm not telling you that that's what you got to do. I'm just showing you that I do it. You don't have to do it. That's the Fat Man workout. The Fat Man Mike Nasty. So I just show you how I work out. So I do that. I do this. I do sports talk on it. It's on YouTube. But everybody's sleeping now because you're all late. So as they said, the greatest player ever is definitely going to be Brady. Yeah, the guy has 5 rings. He's been to 8 Super Bowls. He's won 8 or 9 division titles in a row, or 7, something like that. Wide receiver for the Jeffries, he's having a hard time missing that ball. It happens. Hey, you got to do the 2 things, the 3 or 4 things. There's a quote Dean Smith says: the first time, you make a mistake, you learn from it. The second thing you do when you make a mistake, you admit that you made the mistake. The third thing that you do when you make a mistake is 4, but is you forget about it. You own up to it, you realize what you did, and you don't do it again. You don't make the mistake again. So that's 4 things. First of all, you don't make the same mistake again. Second of all, you admit it. Third from it, you own up to it. And second of all, fourth of all, you forget about it after that. After you do the first 3 things, the fourth thing is forget about it. You let it go. You don't sit there and dwell on it. So Jeffries, he's getting these kids came up to him because they wrote him letters of support. I know that's kind of a big game, but it happens. How do you feel that Billy Cundiff feels kicking the ball wide right? He's probably still upset about it for the Ravens, like in 2014. So the Seahawks took Paxton Lynch as their backup to Russell Wilson. It says they just picked up. He's 24 years old. He was drafted at 26 by Denver. He's only had 4 games. A disappointing season, and was waived. So Paxton Lynch is going to be the backup for Russell Wilson. He could be a good backup. I was saying how, what's his name, likes big, tall quarterbacks, but they haven't worked out for him, Mr. Elway. Denver needs a quarterback since they won that championship. They've gone through, they seem like the old Ravens back then, or the Colts when we were going through quarterbacks. I know when I was young, it was Burt Jones was the Colts quarterback. I remember going to the last game in 1984. I don't even think he was a quarterback. It was Landry or something like that. Old guy throwing the ball around. They weren't very good when they stepped out of here. I think that was the last game they were playing Miami. And it was Dan Marino. He was a rookie. And they had Reggie Roby, the kicker. So no one believes the Pats, except for half the NFL universe. I believe the Pats are going to go there, and I think it's going to be the Saints and the Pats in the championship game. But we'll see Mahomes and, we'll see if Mahomes and Mr. Reed have something up their sleeve. Because Mr. Reed, the championships have avoided him for a while, and he's always been in contention. So we'll see what Andy Reid has, see if their defense can match Brady. But, Belichick says, they struggle on the road. He's not real interested in because, they're not concerned right now because everybody's one and done. Road struggles are only in the off season. Right now, you can't afford any kind of struggles. You're either winning or you go home. So you got to worry about putting points up on the board. You don't got to worry about where you are or what you do. You got to make sure that you're putting points up on the board and that you're playing good defense. You're holding them out of the end zone and you're being productive. But you got the 41-year-old that's been there before. If they get knocked out by the young guy, more power to it. Young guy than they deserve. And we'll see. We'll see how the Saints. We'll see how the Saints and the Rams do. We'll come back for all that stuff. Adam Case, the guy that took over for the Jets, I guess he had some drama in his news conference, but he ended up hiring Greg Williams as his defensive coordinator. So the Jets might have a decent team. You always think people are good on paper. We'll see when they start rolling again. So the free agents that are going to be out there this year, there's some big ones. It looks like Mr. Matthews is going to be out there. Tyrann Mathieu, Clay Matthews, they all could move on. Buffalo Bills, their offensive guard, John Miller. Some tackles are available from Miami. New England's defensive end, Trey Flowers. Henry Anderson for the Jets, another end. We need ends. They say C.J. Mosley, he's not going anywhere though, but he's a linebacker. They could be. These guys could be. Tyler Eifert, that's a good tight end right there. Tyrod Taylor, a backup QB. They gave him first string before, but they butched over. They gave him first string here for the Browns for a little bit, and the Bills had Tyrod as their starter, but he makes a good backup. You got Le'Veon Bell. He's up. I wonder if we would take a run at him. I don't know about the heartaches that he has, but we always get guys now like Gus the Bus is running, and you got Dixon that's running for us. But next year they could do what everybody does. Alec Collins, he was good, and then he ended up not being so good, but he got hurt this year, so I can't tell you. But our running game was a lot better. They got three, with the Jackson being the mobile quarterback. You don't know where it's going, and the line scheme was a whole lot better when Roman came in and started working on the line. So Matthews, the Honey Badger, is going to be up if the Texans don't re-sign him. And then Vinatieri, probably the oldest kicker around. He's supposed to be up. I don't know if he's going anywhere. He's still able to kick it. Oh, and you got Kenny Vaccaro from the Titans. That guy, he's a safety. We don't have, but he's old too. So if Weddle retires, why would you bring this guy in? And he's nasty. He's a mean guy. So Broncos have a center. D Ford, a linebacker. We need some outside linebacker help. Terrell Williams for the Chargers. We need a Marshawn Lynch for the Raiders. Is up. Dallas defensive end. Marcus Lawrence. I don't know. They might be re-signing him. Landon Collins for the Giants at safety, defensive end. Brandon Graham. Most of these guys will probably get re-signed. Preston Smith, linebacker for the Redskins. Adrian Amos, a safety for the Bears. Detroit has a defensive end that we could look at. Outside linebacker, Clay Matthews. He could come here to Baltimore. I'd take Clay Matthews. I like Green Bay. I like Clay Matthews. He knows how to do it. He's a good pass rush. He's kind of young. He's 35. Just 16 years. So, I don't know. He might be too old. Too much there. You can always find the young guy. They always seem to find linebackers in the draft, young, and they get them in the sixth round, fifth rounds. Sometimes they find undrafted guys. That was back in the day of Ozzie. We'll see what the Costa can do. The new man that takes the helm, that is just taking the helm over. See what he does in the draft room this year when he's by himself making them calls, or if they do something with Harbaugh, giving him. I didn't see anything about his deal. He was supposed to get renewed. Maybe he wanted some say in what the front office has to say and what the picks are and stuff like that. New Orleans, Teddy Bridgewater, he's going to be looking for a place to go. He would be a good backup. Defensive end from the Cardinals, a tackle. Defensive tackle, Sue will be up if they don't resign him for the Rams, but I'm sure they'll resign him. Robbie Gould, kicker for the 49ers. Seattle, Frank Clark. So there's some of the free agents that are going to be open. Most of them will probably, I think most of these guys will get a deal from their teams. Or we'll see. We like to wait for the cuts to happen, and then we pick people up. But I don't know. We're trying to make some cap space. Like I said before, they could cut Crabtree and get $5 million off of his contract because he's still owed $21 million. And then you got John Brown out there. You got a couple other guys. They could cut Jimmy Smith off the defense and make some money because they got a lot of young guys that are coming up that can fill the spot. Like I said, in the linebacker spot, you got Oswald that can come up. You got Kenny Young that was a rookie. He played 16 games, had about 40 tackles. So you got guys that can come in and fill up if you got to make space and make cap space. And, they're still looking for a trade for Joe to get a second or third rounder, probably a third rounder, to make the void for what happened last year when they traded up to get Jackson. So now they got to get some pieces back. So they're hoping that they can get Joe for some money. Well, not money, a draft pick. We'll see how that goes. I'll look up here what the score is. I'm looking and see who it is. Maryland, they lost 77 Maryland lost 60-77. The women's in college basketball. They were ranked number 9, but they just lost to Michigan State, who was number 17 ranked, and they were number 9. They're ranked number 9. They just got their second loss, so we'll see where they go. UConn, 75-33. The women played Tulane. They rounded them 75-33. UConn always up there. I think now they're number 3. Oh no, they're number 2. They'll probably be number 1 by the time it's over. That guy always has them at the top. There's no way they're ever less than out of the top 10 because that guy can coach. They're saying that the freshmen here for the Maryland girls are making an impact. Kylie Charles for the Terps and Taylor Mixell and Shakira Austin. They have 3 freshmen that are coming in and scoring for them. Like I said, the men, they got them to be ranked at number 19 with all their freshmen. Everybody's young. When you have young teams, you got a lot to work with. You got, especially up there. So you gotta look at how old they are and what they do. You gotta teach them, not to panic when before the Terps were turning the ball over. way too many times. Even the women, they turn the ball over 15 times a game. That's way too much. The men were turning the ball over, and then now they're getting their outside shooting going. Fernando and Callan are taking over. That's a dynamic duo with the returners from last year. So that's a good tandem. In the Big Ten, Callan's averaging 17 point something a game, and Fernando's getting 12 rebounds a game. He averages about 15 or 16. But they've been on the hot streak the last couple of games. They've beaten two ranked teams, and they just took care of Wisconsin. And then now I think they play Ohio State tomorrow night. We'll see. We'll see what they do there, because Ohio State was ranked, but they had a couple of losses. So I don't think they're far behind. They're probably they didn't drop that far now. They're still a team that you got to reckon with. Zion Williams, they showed clips of that guy just dunking all over the place. That kid can go from the top of the key, dribble, crossover, and sky high, just slam dunking. And he can do more than just slam dunking, But Zion, he's on the move. He still leads the pack with Duke and A.J. Burnett, Tennessee, Grant Williams will be players to watch as the race continues. So we'll see what he does. He's been hurt. I think they had to take him out. But they lost their guard, Trey Jones, so that's probably a bigger impact than Williams, because he was their quarterback of the team. Well, somebody will step up there. One of them young guys for probably one of the best coaches in college basketball, Mr. Krzyzewski. We'll see how that goes. You got Kansas. So that's it for me. We're sports talking. Butchie Door joins. How long you stay on, Butch? You roll out, Butchie? I'm rolling out, Butchie. This is Mike Nasty. This is Fat Man Mike Nasty. This was a late sports talk. Not many people up right now. Only you late night workers. On the night shift, baby, on the night shift. All you guys on the night shift. Maybe I'll do some night shift talking. But you're on the night shift. All right, guys. See you. What you doing? On the night shift. All you night shift folks out there, we're working on the night shift. I'm working on the night